She was this extraordinarily beautiful woman with a lot of feline grace.
Hey guys, Katoucha was one of the most famous supermodels in France. She was beautiful with striking features. She was an author and activist, and she made an impact in the industry. Katoucha was born October 23, 1960 in Guinea. When she was a small child, Katoucha and her family was forced into exile after her father, historian, archaeologist, author, and playwright Jibril Temzir, came into a conflict with Guinea President Sékou Touré. Her mother was a French woman who allegedly belonged to the first generation of girls educated in a French school, and she was allegedly working as a private secretary. Her grandfather was a doctor who became the director of Conakry General Hospital. She was living with an uncle in Mali. She rejoined her family in Dakar, Senegal at 12 years old. There she lived with the family of her paternal uncle. She also wrote her memoir called Katoucha in My Flesh, published in 2007, where she talked about her traumatic childhood. She was circumcised as a child, which I would imagine would be a terrible experience. That is just terrible. She was traumatized by this. In her memoir, she said that her mother claimed to be taking her to the cinema to see the Beatles film Help, but in fact surrendered her for genital mutilation in filthy conditions and without anesthetic. She later became an activist against genital mutilation. The book also mentions her being touched by an uncle. She became pregnant at 17 and ended up marrying the man she was pregnant for. 2 years later, she went off to Paris with a boyfriend, leaving her daughter to be cared for by her husband's family. It was there in France in the 1980s where she began modeling. While growing up, she had an interest in modeling, and allegedly her parents did not approve of her modeling. She modeled for Thierry Mugler, Paco Rabanne, and Christine Lacroix. She became known as the Muse of Yves Saint Laurent during the 1980s. She was a very sought-after model. She was just gorgeous. She was often referred to as the first black French supermodel. She was a model for some of the world's top fashion designers. Yves Saint Laurent especially was fond of her. Katoucha was his muse. She did the catwalk of Yves Saint Laurent's farewell show in 2002 in a formidable ensemble based on a Picasso painting. She was his house taste incarnate, exactly like the figures in his sketches. She was slim, tall, strong-shouldered, and long-necked. The shape of her head was awesome. Jewelry designer Michael Kras said that she could have worn a rice sack with class. The first time I saw her, I thought she looks really classy, and she was very exotic. She was in various magazines, including Vogue. She was a humanitarian, an activist, and she was very outspoken against female circumcision. Following her success as a model, she started the organization KPLCE for the battle against female circumcision. Katoucha stopped modeling in 1994 to focus on her activism. She returned to Senegal to try to persuade women to give up the practice. Katoucha lived in a houseboat near the Alexander III Bridge in Paris. On February 1st, 2008, she returned to her houseboat from a party. It was reported that this was the last time anybody saw her alive. On the 4th of February 2008, the police opened a missing persons case for Katoucha. It is said that they found her purse untouched outside the door to her boat. Her body was later found in the Seine River on February 28, 2008. Katoucha was only 47 years old. Her mentor, Yves Saint Laurent, also passed away that same year. The police, they seem to think that there was no foul play involved and supposedly thought that she was likely intoxicated and fell into the Seine River. Her family was not buying that story. They believed that there was foul play involved. They think her life was taken, allegedly. Katoucha lives on through those who know and remember her, especially throughout France and Guinea. Her work and exquisite physique is out there online for who wants to see. Her legacy will continue to live on. Rest in peace, Katoucha.